Hello and welcome to Chaotic Backlog. I'm trying to go through my massive backlog, and this video is about the games I ticked off in January. In my 2025 in gaming video, I said I was aiming to finish Silkson and Pacific Drive. I did end up playing 2 games, but not Pacific Drive unfortunately. This is mostly because Silkson took up almost my whole January. I didn't think I would have enough time to finish Pacific Drive, so instead I went with Strange Antiquities. I really enjoyed both of the games I finished in January. I'll be talking about both, but the bulk of the video is going to be about Silkson. I'll be going into spoiler territory with Silkson, so I'll leave that to last and give a warning before I go too deep. I will be talking a little about the game mechanics and story in Strange Antiquities, but I won't go into any big spoilers. Strange Antiquities is a fun game. It's a sequel to 2022's Strange Horticulture and is developed by Bad Viking. I was really looking forward to playing this as I loved Strange Horticulture. To get the most important thing out of the way, yes, you can pet the cat. In Strange Antiquities, you play as an apprentice to a demanding man who thinks little of your skills. You work in a shop selling occult items. The main gameplay is trying to find the correct item based on book descriptions, as the owner decided labelling things was just too much work. I loved trying to figure out what an item is by looking at the descriptions to check for things such as colour or weight, and using different sensations such as touch or smell. It's fun being a detective. You can get new stock for the shop by deciphering clues and figuring out where to search. Just like in Strange Horticulture, there are maps where you can select areas to look. Some items may be closer than you think. The story is suitably creepy. There's strange goings on in the small town of Undermere. The local corvids are all up in arms, which we're told is an ill omen. Something supernatural is afoot. There is a host of characters with different motivations, and even a few reoccurring characters from Strange Horticulture. Overall, I really enjoyed Strange Antiquities. The puzzle element of figuring out the correct artifact, labelling it, and figuring out where you want to place it in your shop is fun. I can see it being boring for some people, but I had a blast. It was a nice chill time before the gauntlet that was Silkson. Hollow Knight Silksong has been highly anticipated for a very long time. Hollow Knight was a huge hit, and Team Cherry decided the planned DLC with fan favourite Hornet had enough story to warrant a standalone game. It was very hyped online, and there was a big uncertainty as to whether it could ever live up to that hype. I can honestly say it absolutely does live up to the hype for me. It is an incredible game. It is a beautiful game. It has an incredible soundtrack composed by Christopher Larkin, who also did the soundtrack for Hollow Knight. There are definite highs and devastating lows over the course of the story. Does it exceed Hollow Knight? Honestly, I think I might prefer Hollow Knight personally. Hornet is a much faster character and able to be a lot more acrobatic than the Knight, but I think I might just like the first game better. This may be rose-tinted glasses, but I think Hollow Knight as a game is more balanced. A lot of Silksong is hard. It's unforgiving in a lot of places. There were times when I got a little bit frustrated, which I don't remember happening in Hollow Knight, even on the Path of Pain. It could just be because I haven't played it in a while, so I don't remember how frustrating it was, but I don't think so. I am getting a little ahead of myself though. This is a video about Silksong. There's a lot that I love about Silksong. I love that Hornet has dialogue and a personality. I love the new characters that were introduced. I loved that there was a list of objectives and side quests that I could keep track of. I loved how quick Hornet is when moving about, and I loved a lot of the bosses. The general story is that Hornet gets captured and wants to find who was behind it. It's set up in acts, and you have to go around a lot of the world to unlock abilities to open new pathways. So far, so Metroidvania. The map in this game is huge at the start, and it only gets bigger later on. There is a fast travel system to help getting around the map much quicker. For combat, there are different quests which are different fighting styles. Some are slow heavy attacks, some are short quick attacks. The quests also affect traversal. Some of the quests have a diagonal downward attack and some have a straight down attack. There is also a range of tools which you can attach to your quest. Some like tacks for combat and others for higher silk regen or quicker binding to get back health. I was surprised at how many different viable builds there are to try out. I have seen some complaints about the difficulty and a couple of the bosses were a bit irritating. Some of the platforming was very precise with not much room for error. Most of the time I found it pretty well balanced and could see where I was going wrong, but some of the bosses were a bit annoying and I'm not proud of cheesing one of them. There weren't any times where I was furious, mostly I just wanted to get back into it again. A few bosses I had to turn off the game for a little bit as I was tilting, but I was looking forward to getting back into the game once my nerves had settled down a bit. Other issues I've heard is with the in-game currency being difficult to earn. There are two types, rosaries to buy things and bone shards to use offensive tools. I just ended up farming rosaries in Greymore when I needed them, so it wasn't too bad. A tip I found is if you're struggling for bone shards is to farm rosaries and buy shard bundles from any of the stores. Overall, I think this is an excellent game and well worth a play if you enjoy a challenge. If coming up against tough obstacles that you have to do over and over again is something that would just annoy the hell out of you, this probably isn't the game for you, and that's okay. If you're unsure, it's only about 16 quid, so it's not too expensive to gamble on. Okay, so that was a broad overview of Silksong, but I have other things I need to talk into the void about. This will go into heavy spoilers with my favourite bosses and some of my favourite moments. This is your spoiler warning. Okay, so I'm going to start with my top 5 bosses. Google tells me there are 48 bosses in Silksong. I knew I missed a few of them, but there were a few more I didn't get round to. I might have to go back and try to find the ones I missed. I didn't beat Garmund and Zaza, Plasmified Zango, Watcher at the Edge, Pale Stag, Crust King Khan and Summon Saviour. I missed the Garmund and Zaza fight as I didn't find them before I beat the High Hall's Gauntlet, and I also meant to go back for the Pale Stag after beating the Clover Dancers, but I got booted out of the memory. And I wasn't given the option for Summon Saviour as I am not skilled enough to try Steel mode. So here's my top 5 favourite bosses in no particular order. The Bell Beast is the first real boss you meet in the game. Moss Mother comes before it, but I see that as more of a tutorial boss. Bell Beast was a fun fight to get used to the mechanics, and it has the added bonus of unlocking fast travel. This was a good fight to get your eye in and start to learn attack patterns. The attacks have obvious tells and helps with getting used to Hornet's agility. A great early boss. Lace is introduced as a bit of a childish brat really. The fights with Lace are really fun once you learn her attack patterns and tells. It's one of those where after a couple of tries I kept thinking there was no way I can beat her, but then you take it slow, don't try to hit her but learn to avoid her attacks and see where there are openings. Then it's a case of just baiting her to do a specific attack you know you can punish with 1 or 2 hits back. It feels so good beating her. The final fight against her with all of the void was pretty difficult, but that's what you want in a final boss, and the payoff was definitely worth it.
What are you doing? Yeah.
I loved Trobio! The theatrics, explosions going on all over the screen, it is chaotic in all the best ways. I was having a blast the whole time. From looking online, I think people either love or hate Trobio, and I'm firmly in the love camp. I was super excited to see him back as tormented Trobio in the 3rd act, but honestly I didn't like it as much as the first fight. OG Trobbio all the way for me. The fight with the cogwork dancers was super fun and sad at the same time. A lot of people think this is a relatively easy fight, but I struggled a little bit with it, so it took me more than a couple of tries to win. It is a beautiful, heart-wrenching fight. The timings were perfect and it felt like I was dancing with them. Then when one falls and the other continues on, it's so sad to watch, especially when they go into the middle of the screen but their partner isn't there to embrace. Really well thought out boss fight and makes the Green Prince storyline even more heartbreaking. Top marks for this one. Team Cherry making me feel things. Scarsingered Carmelita is a fun boss. I fought her just after I realised the beauty of the Wanderer crest with Injector Band, Weave Light and Longclaw tools, which was a bit late in the game, I admit. I just bullied Crawfather and was feeling unstoppable. Then I went to see Scarsingered Carmelita. The music on the run up to Carmelita was awesome. The gauntlet is pretty easy, and then the fight started and I wasn't able to completely bully her. It took a little while to figure out I still needed to move away to heal and I couldn't just tank all of her attacks, but it was really fun to figure it out. I tried a few different tool combinations and eventually won. It really helped that the music was just so good on that short run back. I just need to put it out there, whilst most bosses are super fun to figure out and beat, the three worst bosses in my opinion are the second Savage Beastfly fight, Disgraced Chef Legoli, fuck those maggots even with the Wreath of Purity, and Groll the Great. Earlier on I said I cheesed one of the boss fights and it was Groll. That run back and the gauntlet? No thank you. If anyone is interested in it, it's basically doing the gauntlet as normal, getting into the water and sticking to the right side corner. The sucking attack gets blocked by the platform in the water, giving you a chance to hit him, then move back into the corner. All of his other attacks completely miss you. Not my proudest moment, but life is too short for me to spend hours on something I wasn't really enjoying. My favourite red tool was the Cogwork Flies. They are cute little guys who really helped with a few bosses, especially when paired with the Polyp Pouch for poisoning. I usually have an aversion to using consumables in games, as what if I need it later on? Once I got over this, I found tools to be really useful. Shards are fairly easy to get, and my only minor annoyance is that fighting in gauntlets doesn't give any shards, so if you're struggling with one, you can get through them pretty quickly. Should also probably shout out Vault Vessels, as they rinsed through a couple of bosses for me. Hands down, my favourite moment has to be fighting the Bell Eater. Picture this. I'm really struggling and I'm down to my last mask. Wait, you don't need to picture this, I have the footage. So, I'm down to my last mask of health. Not enough silk left to heal. I'm panicked. I manage to hit the Bell Eater. It does a scream. Oh fuck, not another phase. I'm gonna die and I'm gonna have to try and farm for some shards. Then, out jumps the Bell Beast. That big, beautiful beast takes out the Bell Eater. I'm so elated as Act 3 is dark as heck. I'm not even worried about the killsteal. But wait, there's more. Bellbeast starts singing. And I play my needle in. drops an army of cute little baby bell beasts. Now I can quickly travel back to the fast travel station from most places on the map. Wonderful. The next moment I want to touch on is at the very end of the game. You go down to the abyss to stop Farloon being destroyed because Grandmother Silk is desperately fighting the void to stop her daughter being completely consumed. She's a shitty bug god, but she does love lace even if she doesn't see it. Grandmother Silk gives Hornet her silk so that she can escape with lace. And as you are moving through the void, the Everbloom is completely destroyed, probably because it took me so many fucking attempts to beat Lost Lace. And it seems all hope is lost. Who should appear but the knight from Hollow Knight? It was such a great moment and a fantastic way to end the game. The last moment I want to touch upon is also the saddest moment for me, and it comes as part of a wish, Hero's Call. I went to the blasted steps and saw Zaza acting all panicked. Followed the little bug and it took me to Garmond, who has succumbed to the void after spending the first part of Act 3 fighting off the hordes of enemies. It was incredibly sad to fight Garmond, but I had to keep at it to release him. Once the fight is over, Garmond becomes lucid for a few moments and speaks to you and Zaza. You can also play the needle in and see Zaza's thoughts. Who's cutting onions in here? So, those are the games I ticked off my backlog in January. I didn't finish many games, but I also didn't buy any, so at least nothing was added to the backlog. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments what games you've been playing and any game recommendations you might have. Also let me know in the comments your favourite moments from Silksong, or if you disagreed with anything that I mentioned. Thank you.